The significance of this mummification and burial complex lies in one fact, that we have never found an actual building that we can say securely this is where the preparation of the mummies took place.
In 2018, deep within a 30-meter excavation pit at Saqqara, Dr. Ramadan Hussein's team uncovered something inexplicable beneath the scorching desert, where temperatures soar above 45 degrees Celsius. The ancient underground chamber maintained a constant 15-17 degrees Celsius year-round. Stranger still, this cooling effect required no artificial ventilation or water source to verify this anomaly. The team deployed pressure and temperature sensors over several days. The results were staggering. The air inside the chamber moved in a rhythmic cycle, rising and falling with the cadence of day and night, as if the structure itself were breathing. From that moment, the archaeologists realized this was no ordinary tomb.
So many people being mummified in ancient Egypt that really it was one of the biggest industries that you have going.
Could Saqqara be more than a necropolis? Could it be the world's first machine designed to resurrect the human soul? As Dr. Ramadan Hussein's team descended into Pit K24, nearly 30 meters below the earth, an immense labyrinthine structure revealed itself: ceremonial chambers, storerooms filled with aromatic resins, and corridors carved directly into natural limestone. Every element was arranged with astonishing precision. Each tunnel, each ventilation shaft aligned perfectly along a north-south axis, deviating by less than half a degree, mirroring the orientation of the Djoser pyramid above. But what stunned Hussein most was the material. The limestone at Saqqara was unlike any he had encountered before. Geological analysis revealed an unusually high magnetite content, a mineral capable of interacting with Earth's magnetic field. When illuminated, the chamber walls shimmered like polished metal, suggesting this place was crafted not merely to endure, but to absorb and channel energy. The deeper they explored, the stranger the discoveries became. Inside chambers, the team uncovered dozens of sealed ceramic jars containing a mixture of resin, pine tar, and aromatic oils. Advanced GCMS analysis showed these compounds possessed slight electrical conductivity and remarkable tissue-preserving properties, far surpassing typical embalming materials. Some samples even contained copper salts and sodium carbonate compounds capable of triggering electrolytic reactions in the presence of moisture. This raised a chilling question. Did the ancient Egyptians understand the interplay between matter, energy, and the human body? Were their mummification rituals not just preserving the dead, but creating a bioelectrochemical environment to sustain life's energy? Further data only deepened the mystery. Geomagnetic sensors placed within the tomb detected intensified magnetic fields at key central locations, precisely where the coffins of the elite were positioned. When mapped, these points formed a spiral pattern converging toward the magnetic north, resembling the structure of a natural energy field. It was as if Saqqara was designed to focus geomagnetic energy onto the bodies of the dead, as though they were attempting to recharge their souls. On one stone wall, the team found a faint hieratic inscription, carved over 2,000 years ago. The Ka returns to the body. Light passes through the earth. Life is rekindled. In ancient Egyptian belief, the Ka was the life force, the soul that coexists with the physical body, but in a sealed, lightless, airless chamber. This inscription seemed to describe a physical process rather than a religious one, a ritual of energy restoration, not a prayer for the departed. Hussein began to see the entire complex in a new light. From an engineering perspective, Saqqara functioned as a self-regulating system. Cool air descended through secondary shafts, pushing warm air upward through the main axis. Magnetic limestone absorbed electromagnetic vibrations, and resin laced with metallic salts formed an electrolytic layer around the mummies. The result was a sealed environment capable of maintaining stability for millennia without intervention, a biological machine powered by the earth itself. To many archaeologists, this could be a natural coincidence of geology and ritual. But for Hussein, every piece of evidence pointed to a singular conclusion. The ancient Egyptians weren't merely preserving death. They were seeking to extend the existence of the Ka, keeping the soul in a state of half-life, half-sleep, waiting to be awakened at another time. When Dr. Ramadan Hussein's team opened a small chamber on the western side of Pit K24, they were unprepared for what they found: the first fully intact underground mummification workshop ever discovered in Egypt. Inside, everything remained untouched: stone surgical tables, jars of aromatic resins, bronze tools, and ceramic vessels still holding viscous black liquids. The setup was precise, resembling an ancient laboratory more than a ceremonial space. Analysis revealed the mixtures in the jars contained pine resin, cedar oil, bitumen, copper salts, and sodium carbonate compounds with weak electrical conductivity. These weren't just antiseptics or preservatives. They could generate mild electrochemical reactions in the presence of moisture, akin to the principles of a biobattery. From a scientific perspective, the Egyptians' mummification process may have created a bioelectrothermal environment that stabilized the body after death. When Hussein cross-referenced a 3D map of the necropolis, he noticed a suspicious alignment between the mummification workshop, the ventilation shafts, and the elite burial chambers below. The conduits were designed to channel hot air from the resin-burning area to the deeper levels, creating alternating negative and positive pressure that kept air flowing rhythmically day and night. This system operated like an artificial lung within the earth, maintaining stable temperatures and continuous air circulation for thousands of years. Geophysicist engineers modeled the process and uncovered something astonishing. The magnetite-rich limestone not only absorbed heat, but amplified geomagnetic oscillations, boosting the faint electrical signals generated in the burial chambers. Viewed as an energy system, Saqqara appeared engineered to collect, channel, and stabilize bioelectrical currents. This led Hussein to reconsider the nature of mummification itself. Could the ancient Egyptians have applied an empirical understanding of life's energy, rather than relying solely on religious mysticism in their belief system? The Ka, the soul, did not vanish at death, but separated, existing as an energy form that needed nourishment and preservation. Embalming, resin application, and sealing within magnetic stone may have been their method of stabilizing the Ka, preparing it for a potential reboot. Further geomagnetic measurements reinforced this hypothesis. The locations of elite mummies coincided with the strongest magnetic field intensities, forming a spiral pattern oriented toward the magnetic north. If this was a coincidence, it was a perfect one. If not, the entire Saqqara complex might be a geomagnetic resonator, with the human body at its operational core. Though Hussein never claimed this was ancient technology, he believed the Egyptian priests achieved a unique understanding of death where the boundaries of biology, chemistry, and spirituality merged. They weren't just preserving bodies. They were experimenting with techniques to chemicalize the soul, recreating what they called eternal life. Today, computer reconstructions of Saqqara reveal a structure resembling a giant circuit from the mummification workshop to the ventilation shafts, from ceremonial chambers to the central burial vaults, all interconnected like components of a singular system. No detail was accidental. Every tunnel, every stone, every drop of resin served the same purpose: to keep the energy of life from ever fading. When computer simulations of Saqqara were reconstructed, the first thing that stunned Dr. Ramadan Hussein's team was the absolute stability of the underground climate, regardless of the season or surface weather. The subterranean system maintained a steady 15 to 17 degrees, constant humidity, and a cyclical airflow pattern. This was no accident. Geophysical measurements revealed that cool air was drawn into secondary shafts at night when surface temperatures dropped, while warm air from deeper levels rose and escaped through the main axis during the day. The entire system functioned like a colossal respiratory machine, its rhythm dictated by the daily pressure differential of the desert. Even stranger was the material forming this machine's body. Analysis of the limestone walls showed magnetite levels far higher than in surrounding areas. Magnetite, a mineral capable of generating weak electrical currents under pressure or vibration, exhibits the piezoelectric effect, producing voltage through mechanical stress. As the stone endured thermal shifts or seismic vibrations, it emitted tiny electrical charges that rippled across the surface like the biopulses of the earth. Hussein realized the underground complex wasn't built solely to house mummies. It was designed to harness and amplify natural energy from stone and air. The narrow corridors, ventilation shafts, and layered stone acted not just as architecture, but as energy conduits. As air flowed, the electrical charges from the stone could travel along the chamber walls, resembling the faint pulse of a living organism. If Saqqara were a living body, the stone was its skeleton, the air its breath, and Earth's magnetic field its circulatory system. The structure was precisely aligned to the magnetic north, with every passage converging toward the center, where the elite sarcophagi rested, the heart of the system, where magnetic interference was strongest. Geophysicists placed magnetic sensors across various chambers, finding that central burial vaults exhibited electromagnetic fluctuations twice as strong as the surrounding bedrock, pulsing slowly in a 24-hour cycle aligned with day and night. This phenomenon defied purely geological explanations. One hypothesis suggests the Egyptian priests harnessed the desert's daily temperature swings to generate oscillating energy currents, what they may have believed was the breath of the Ka. If true, Saqqara was not merely a resting place for souls, but a machine to sustain their vitality by combining stone, air, and magnetism. The Egyptians created a closed energy environment where life didn't end, it transformed. When the complete 3D data was projected in the lab, the image silenced the team from above. The necropolis formed a symmetrical spiral, like a diagram of an energy field. The main axis pointed north, while secondary corridors curved like streamlines around a magnetic pole. The entire structure resembled a resonating device, where energy was compressed, circulated, and released through nodal points, the precise locations of the site elite's mummies. No one knows how much the builders understood of this phenomenon or if they stumbled upon a natural mechanism, but the result is undeniable. Saqqara breathes, oscillates, and sustains its own life. In the darkness below, the stones still draw air, radiate heat, and emit faint electrical pulses like the ghostly heartbeat of an ancient entity that has pulsed for 2 millennia. If there's a place on Earth where life and death coexist in the same space, it is Saqqara, the stone machine that breathes in the desert. In the deepest chambers of Saqqara, ancient inscriptions etched over 2,000 years ago adorn the stone walls. These are not mere prayers, but resemble instructions for a process light passes through the earth. The Ka returns to the body. Life is rekindled. To most Egyptologists, these are religious metaphors, depicting the soul's journey through the underworld to rebirth. But when Hussein's team compared the texts from Pit K24 with records from Abydos and Thebes, they noticed something peculiar, recurring phrases like breath of the earth, living light, or sacred current suggested not mythology, but descriptions of tangible physical phenomena: energy, air, and light. Translations revealed the Egyptians believed the Ka, the soul, was an energy form tied to breath and bodily heat. At death, the Ka separated, but could be nourished to persist independently. Mummification, then, was not just about preserving flesh, but stabilizing this energy to prevent its dissipation. In the final rituals, priests performed the opening of the mouth, touching the mummy's lips with a metal rod to restore breath and speech to Hussein. This was more than symbolic. It may have been humanity's first conductive spark metal, conductive resin, and moisture forming a small energy circuit, completing what the ancients called the rebirth of the Ka. Under modern scientific scrutiny, what was once deemed magic reveals a practical mechanism. Aromatic compounds acted as natural insulators. Magnetite amplified magnetic fields, and circulating air maintained energy stability. Together, they formed a bioenergy symbolic system where religion and physics were inseparable. In ancient texts, the living light was described as an eternal energy flowing through earth and sky. Perhaps the Egyptians understood life as a form of oscillation and death not as an end, but as a new cycle of the same energy. As Saqqara's data became public, archaeologists noticed striking parallels with other ancient sites worldwide. At Abydos, the tunnels beneath the Osirion were designed to channel air and maintain stable temperatures. In Thebes, royal tombs featured underground ventilation systems, creating identical negative pressure patterns as Saqqara. Beyond Egypt, at Göbekli Tepe in Turkey, a site predating Saqqara by millennia, massive T-shaped pillars contained high magnetite levels and aligned with the North Star. At Stonehenge, magnetic bluestones formed a circle aligned with the solstice axis, separated by continents. These structures seem to operate on a shared energy logic, harmonizing stone, air, and light to create resonance. The boldest hypothesis suggests these sites are nodes in a global soul map, an ancient energy network spanning the Earth. Saqqara may be one link, the northern gateway of the Ka, as the Egyptians called it. If true, ancient civilizations may have shared a unified understanding of transforming life's energy into technology, a knowledge later fragmented and mythologized. Modern researchers term this the ancient geomagnetic resonance theory, the idea that prehistoric peoples selected sites with strong magnetic fields for ritual centers, though not conclusive. Geophysical surveys at Saqqara, Abydos, and Stonehenge reveal they all lie on natural magnetic fault lines. From above, this energy pattern resembles a map connecting humanity's sacred centers, a network the ancients believed channeled the soul of the earth. If Saqqara is its heart, the Egyptians weren't just preserving life, they were attempting to control it. More than 2 millennia after the last priests left Saqqara, the modern world is only beginning to grasp what they called the technology of life. Studies on bioplasma and bioenergy fields suggest the human body is more than flesh and blood. It's a system emitting faint electromagnetic signals, a measurable Ka. Experiments by Konstantin Korotkov in Russia and Michael Persinger in Canada show living organisms emit tiny biophotons, forming a thin plasma layer around the body. At death, this signal doesn't vanish instantly, but fades over days like residual energy after a power source is cut. This has led some biophysicists to propose that the Egyptian Ka may describe a bioelectromagnetic field the ancients sought to sustain through their technology. Current geomagnetic readings at Saqqara still detect faint electrical oscillations from magnetite-rich stones, especially around central burial chambers. Why this persists remains unknown, but it supports the idea that the structure operates at a low energy level, like a machine that never fully stopped. Remarkably, modern lab experiments using static electric fields to preserve living cells show similar effects. Weak currents can slow tissue decay and stabilize DNA. The Egyptians' methods balancing temperature, humidity, and magnetism align with these principles. They may not have called it science, but ritual, yet the outcome was the same, preserving life's energy. Saqqara is not just an archaeological site, but an ancient laboratory where humanity first tested the belief in immortality through experimental means. Today, researchers call this a spiritual technological legacy, an era when science, religion, and philosophy were one. The Egyptians didn't separate soul from matter. They saw life's energy as a natural force, manipulable and rekindlable. What they called the Ka may be the bioenergy field we're only now beginning to understand. What they built with stone, air, and resin, we recreate with electricity, waves, and nanotechnology. Yet the goal remains unchanged to ensure life never truly fades. As we gaze upon Saqqara, where stones still breathe and the earth holds its warmth, one final question echoes from the depths of its tombs. Has humanity ever stopped seeking to rekindle its own soul?